Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barakaha Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'm going to start it off in Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, in the Apocrypha, chapter 10, verses 14 to 15. Yahweh hath cast down the thrones of proud princes, and set up the meek in their stead. Yahweh hath plucked up the roots of the proud nations, and planted the lowly in their place. And the one nation of people on the earth that exemplifies proud princes and proud nations are the biblical Edomites, who were known as these so-called white people, Americans, British, Europeans, Russians, South Afrikaners, those little hats over in the Holy Land, etc., etc. And we're in the process of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi plucking them up by the roots and casting down their thrones. And the nation that has next, the meek that's going to be set up in their stead, and the lowly planted in their place are the true children of Israel, who are known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today. And if you look at the state of our people, you can clearly see we are in the lowest place and in a very meek, helpless position, which 2nd Esdras chapter 6, verses 8 to 9 says, "And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob, the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, and Esau, the progenitor of you so-called white people, were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, or this aeon, this age of the rulership of the heathen nations, which is coming to an end as we speak. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, the meek and the lowly being planted to rule in the kingdom to come, the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be an eternal, righteous kingdom." And I opened up the video with these verses to preface two articles dealing with Prince Andrew of, the British, crown, being stripped of all his titles and honors and being estranged from the royal family. And, this is just a perfect spiritual, example, symbolism of proud princes, which, he was literally a prince being taken out of power and proud nations being rooted up, because him being estranged, from the royal family and being stripped of his honors is exactly what's about to take place with you Edomites. You're going to be taken out of your lofty position, all your wealth, resources, that prestige you once had is going to be taken away from you, and you're going to be put in your rightful position underneath the feet of the Israelites as slaves in the kingdom of heaven. But the first article is on NewYorkDailyNews.com. Royal site deletes Prince Andrew bio just days after King Charles visit. I mean, look at these devils. Anybody that's in their right mind should be ready for these Edomites to be taken out of power. Days after the announcement that Prince Andrew has been stripped of all his titles and honors, the royal family has made a big change to their official website. On Thursday, Buckingham Palace released a statement saying that King Charles initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors from the former royal. In the aftermath, the disgraced former Duke of York's profile on their website appears to have been deleted from the senior royals' section, and his page is no longer live. And hey, Edomites are ultimately going to be deleted, from your position of power. And then after the first 1,000 years in the kingdom of heaven, after it's built up, after you've served hardcore bondage and slavery, your whole nation is going to be deleted from the face of the earth. Read the whole book of Obadiah, especially verse 18. The demotions stem from allegations that the royal was among EpiPen's clients. Virginia Giuffre, a victim of EpiPen, claims that he introduced her to Prince Andrew, who she alleged SA'd her on multiple occasions. And, that's the case with all these higher ups in society, especially Nero 47. And we're in the times where Esau Edom's skirt is being lifted up and all his dirty dealings are being exposed, and shameful spewing is being put upon his honor. And, his pride, his arrogance is being rooted up and brought down. And again, Prince Andrew was literally a prince. And as it said, the Lord hath cast down the thrones of princes. But wait, there's more. This is a second article from CBSnews.com. Former Prince Andrew to lose last military title as King Charles continues shunning his younger brother. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew, Duke of York. And hey, what were the heads of the Edomite tribes known as when you read in the book of Numbers? The Dukes of Edom. Everything lines up. Appears set to be stripped of his last honorary military title as the British royals continue their efforts to distance themselves from King Charles III's younger brother over his links to the late convicted ex-offender Jeffrey EpiPen. We've seen Andrew surrender the military positions that he's had, and we're looking now at the one remaining position he has, which is the honorary vice admiral position, and we've got a process underway for that to be removed. Defense Secretary John Healey told Britain's Sky News on Sunday. In a separate interview on the same subject with CBS News' partner network, BBC News, the defense chief said it's a move the king has indicated we should take. So, hey, like I said, this is a perfect spiritual, symbolism for what's about to take place to all the heads and elites of you Edomites and just Esau's nation as a whole. Ripped of your titles, honors, reputation, riches, everything, and be put in that low position. This is Daniel chapter 2. I'll start at verse 40, and this is dealing with the statue of a man made of different metals that King Nebuchadnezzar of the Neo-Babylonian Empire had, and that the prophet Daniel interpreted. And those different parts and metals of that statue represented different heathen kingdoms that would rule before the final kingdom, the eternal kingdom, the kingdom of heaven. Verse 40, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And these legs of iron were speaking of the ancient pagan Edomite Roman Empire. And now we're going into the last leg of it. Those iron toes mixed with miry clay, the reincarnated Roman Empire, this NATO EU system that the U.S. is a part of and at the head of. And, the UK, Britain was a major player in it. They're still a part of NATO. And, though they left the EU, they still have dealings with it. They were the major founding members of these organizations. And Britain was also one of the 7 heads on that beast in Revelation chapter 17. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And when there are times where it's about to be completely broken into pieces. But now let's see, what comes next. Is it going to be China? Is it going to be Russia? Verse 44 in the header reads, the divine kingdom. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. And this is speaking of the kingdom of heaven. the kingdom of Yasharallah or Israel, that eternal divine kingdom. And as it said, it shall not be left to other people, because the Israelites are going to be the sole rulers in it. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, Rome, the brass, going into the Greeks, the clay, the iron and the clay, the reincarnated Roman Empire, the silver, the Medo-Persians, and the gold, the Neo-Babylonians. The great power hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof. And that stone, that great millstone, ultimately represents Yahushai, the Son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, who's returning in a massive chariot that was described like a mountain by the prophet Esdras in 2nd Esdras chapter 13. And when you read Isaiah chapter 63, it names who specifically Yahushua is coming to take down. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? And when Esau is taken out of power, the rest of the nations, follow suit. And then the fun begins, the captivity of you heathen nations. And the first ones that are going to go into captivity are the elites, which, former Prince Andrew, King Charles, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all these, hidden families, 13 bloodlines, banking families are included in that. But this is Psalms 149. I'm going to start at verse 1. Praise ye Yahweh, sing unto Yahweh a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints, which the elect are singing that new song right now, which is included with, what I'm saying myself, that the children of Israel are going to wake up and rule in the kingdom to come, and that, you heathens, chiefly you Edomites, are going down and into captivity, beginning with your elites. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people, and his people only. Remember what it said back in Daniel chapter 2, verse 43 or 42. And this kingdom shall not be left to other people. He will beautify the meek with salvation, beginning with the elect. And then when the wicked of our people are cut off and reborn through the loins of the elect into the new covenant, the whole nation is going to be righteous and beautiful, perfect. And what did it say? The meek, remember, the Lord hath plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their stead and set up the meek in their stead after casting down the proud princes. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. Revelation 13, verses 9 to 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the main point I wanted to get to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, mentioning the elites, higher-ups, those in power first, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. Chains and fetters of iron, you're in slavery. This is Isaiah 49 and 23. And the kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And, they're not literally going to be licking up dust off our feet. That's just symbolic of how low of a position they're going to be in, and rightfully so. And thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me, the faith and the patience of the saints, which we can see this faith and patience has been paying off. All these final prophecies are quickly coming to their fulfillment. Like I've been saying, this former Prince Andrew being stripped of his titles and honors and put in disgrace is a appetizer for what's about to happen to the rest of you elites in the nation of Esau, Edom as a whole. And then I think it was last year, or earlier this year, you had a house fire over in California that killed, they said he was one of the Rothschilds, another form of spiritual symbolism. But I'm going to close it out in Job chapter 20, verses 4-9. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job 9, verse 24, the border of wickedness in Malachi 1, verse 4, Esau, Edom, is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. And, as it says in the scriptures, 1,000 years is as a day to the Lord. So, Esau's, been in power this last time, beginning with the Renaissance for, around 500 years or so. So that's, half a day to the Lord. So a very short time. And the joy of the hypocrite, but for a moment, though his excellency mount up to the heavens and his head reach unto the clouds. And, we can precept this actually with Obadiah, which, again, that whole book is dedicated to the judgment and downfall of you Edomites. As it says, Edom will be humbled. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. Jump to verse 3. I'll jump to verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised, which you Edomites, especially in the West, your reputation has been made small and despised. Everybody's looking at you as the root cause of all the problems out here. And then you got a former prince on the EpiPen list, and his reputation is just completely shot through to where his own family has disregarded him. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And, that's a sentiment with a lot of these Edomite Americans. Here you can clearly see the country's collapsing, but you're still holding out that the good old US of A won't go down. Well, just like every empire before it, you're following the exact same blueprint to, collapse. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and who has always used their symbol as the eagle, from Rome to the US, Esau, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his heart reach unto the clouds, though thou set thy nest among the stars, which, the eagle has landed with the so-called moon landing, which was a psyop. But, Esau does have satellites and other platforms in low orbit space. Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. Your shit. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? And after that 1,000 years, when the entire nation of Esau is cut off, after a time, people aren't going to remember you Edomites anymore. You're going to have to go to the records to know that you ever existed. He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away as the vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. And right now with Prince Andrew, his place, his former place, his family is no longer beholding him. And eventually, that's going to be the fate for the rest of you Edomites. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next